On this episode of Beautiful with Lady Sil. Lady Sil will be talking with the 2017 Missouri winner of the Mrs. United States pageant, Mrs. Juanine Rucker. Juanine has a life that is a clear example of how victory can outlast any loss. And later, Juanine will take on some great questions from our studio audience. And you won't...
Steve Hot Dog from Moore. And here is Steve. I'm Rodney, Round Rodney. Steve, tell us a little bit about your place. You got two locations, right?
Two locations, one on the hill, one here in Talbot East.
Okay.
We opened that one about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And we used to sell hot dogs on the street, but I wanted to sell bigger recipes, do some different things with it, so I opened up a shop.
This is Smiles TV. You're watching Smiles TV. I'm Stephanie Anthony Miles, and thank you for tuning in. We have an excellent, heartwarming broadcast for you today. I'm talking with a friend, Charlotte Otley, who's a 5-time Emmy Award winner and a great entrepreneur. She's done some magnificent things. You don't want to miss this broadcast.
Tis the season to be jolly. I'm here to tell you about my Christmas special. Yep, I'm shooting a Christmas special for my show Kids Start with me, Dre Hilton. Now, of course, this is strictly for the kids, so yep, it's that time of the year, and I know your kid has a Christmas list. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna read your kid's Christmas list on my Christmas special. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty interesting to see some of the things that your kids want. I bet it's a big old list.
Every time.
We tell success stories of people who made it in business. We showing the test, but life provide the quizzes. If you want to win, then you better not miss this. Cause what school don't teach you is when it get real, it's intact. We all soft enough to die, who hard enough to fight until it's time. I want you bad enough to search between the lines. Cause folks that can't talk is still alive.
On this episode of Beautiful with Lady Sil. Lady Sil will be talking with the 2017 Missouri winner of the Mrs. United States pageant, Mrs. Juanine Rucker. Juanine has a life that is a clear example of how victory can outlast any loss. And later, Juanine will take on some great questions from our studio audience. And you won't want to miss Lady Sil's language segment. She'll preach the life lessons we all can take to heart. It's a beautiful day. Let's get started.
Thanks so much for watching today. I'm so happy you could be a part of the show. Blessings to all my lovely audience and amazing viewers. Let me welcome you to my new set. Dynasty Television has been a huge support to the show, and I thank them for all of their help and encouragement. The goal of my show every week is to let the viewers take away not only a little entertainment, but also a chance to meet amazing people with positive and beautiful stories of love and encouragement. It is my desire for someone's story to uplift you or even change you. Today's guest is definitely beautiful. After the death of her mom at a very young age, she went on to represent our beautiful country in the armed services, and for that, we salute her. Juanine made a huge transition in her life and entered into the pageant world. She became, just in 2017, Mrs. Missouri, USA. And on top of all of that, she's a certified pastry chef. Please help me welcome the amazing and beautiful Juanine Rucker. Let's have a seat.
Thank you.
First of all, you look absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Do you agree? Yeah. Oh, so there's so much we could talk about.
Okay, let's go.
Let's just dive into it.
Okay.
How old were you when you lost your mom?
I was 9 years old.
Wow.
My mother died on her 40th birthday.
Oh my. But what I thought was so amazing that your grandparents, what role did they play?
Well, let's be clear.
Sure.
My maternal grandmother, that's where my mother and myself and my brother that's 10 years older than me, we stayed with her. And when my maternal grandmother became ill, she had a leg amputated. My stepfather's parents took me in as one of their own. They never treated me any differently.
Wow. So now that you are, you have quite a resume. How did that time in your life, how did that kind of mold and shape who you've become?
It made my life. It's just that simple. They opened their doors. I was one of theirs. They chastised me like they chastised the rest. My grandfather, as we called him, Papa, he poured into me like he poured into his blood grandchildren. His name for me was Gal. Come here, Gal. And he taught me. My sister and I are so different. I mean, as night and day, you wouldn't believe that we came from the same mother. But he poured into me what he didn't pour into her. She's more the prissy one. I'm the one that gets in there with my sleeves rolled up, know how to change the oil, change the tire, you know. Because he taught me not to be beholding, as he said, to anyone. So he had to make sure that I could survive.
When he said beholding, why do you think he used that particular term?
Because in his day and time, women didn't work. Women stayed at home and took care of the children or took care of the house, even though my grandmother was out of the home for the early part of my life. But, and they taught my sister to depend on the help of the male counterpart.
Sure.
He took that out of my equation.
Wow.
He wanted to make sure that I could do it with or without a guy.
Wow. And you know, now I'm understanding the path that you took.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you became a detective for the state of Missouri?
An investigator for the Department of Corrections, yeah.
Oh my. And then you went from there and just made this huge transition. But before we get to the transition, how a detective?
Well, see, help me. Okay, let's go there. I tell people all the time, God knows when to place me and who to place in front of me.
Sure.
When I came out of the military, I was married. That marriage did not work out, and I'm happy to tell anybody, when it doesn't work, you don't have to stay. My oldest son was 2 years old, and I called my grandfather on a Thursday night. I said, Papa, this is not working. He said, what's the matter, Gal? And I told him, you know, what was going on. He said, okay, your brother will be there. No, actually, it was a Tuesday night. He said, your brother will be there on Friday. My brother flew out to California, and we loaded what I could get into my, I had a Ford Escort at the time. Me, the Ford Escort, the 2-year-old baby, and my brother left California and drove back to St. Louis. When I got back to St. Louis, my grandfather had a house ready for me that was already furnished. And Gal, this is where you and this boy is gonna be. And I said, okay, Papa. So he placed Papa and Big Mama, as my grandmother, he placed them in my life until I could get to the point of being confident in myself. I went to college wanted to go to culinary school right out of high school, but Papa said, no, Gal, you got to have a decent job. You got to be a teacher or a social worker or a nurse. Can't be doing all that other foolish stuff.
Right.
So I didn't go to culinary school at the time. So I went to Mizzou. But when my grandmother got sick, I came back home and I majored in criminology and criminal justice.
Okay.
He was okay with that.
Okay.
As long as it was a desk job.
Oh.
Yeah, but that didn't pan out either.
Okay.
Because when I actually entered college, I was already a sophomore because I went to college a half a day and high school a half a day in my senior year. So by the time I did go to college, I was so over college. I couldn't even read a book unless it had pictures. That whole textbook reading thing was not for me.
Sure.
So another person was placed in my path. I didn't know that he was a recruiter at the time, but I met a gentleman. I don't even remember how I met him, but I met a gentleman and we struck up a conversation. And he was like, you need to come down for lunch one day. And he was a Marine Corps recruiter down on Grand. So I met him for lunch. And I walked in and there was the Navy office and the Air Force office and the Army office and there was the Marine Corps office. I looked at the Navy, I was like, ooh, I don't like their uniforms. Ugh. Looked at the Army, they looked a little sloppy. I was like, no. The Air Force, they were okay, but they just kind of, yeah. So when I went in to talk to the gentleman I had met, I said, oh, sign me up. He was like, what? Your grandfather not gonna kill me? I said, we just won't tell him. So I did. I literally took the test, passed the test, had a date that I needed to leave. All my friends were going back to school, and they were like, shouldn't you be packing to go back to school? I said, oh, I'm not going. Why did I say I wasn't going? Oh, my God, they called pastor. They called everybody, like, you need to come talk to this gal. Something wrong with her. Excuse me. So I said, no, I'm going in the military. In the who? That's just what my grandfather said. And he didn't talk to me for 2 days. And it's not like him to not pour in at some point.
So at that time, did you have the mentality, okay, I'm just gonna go to the military because, I like the uniforms? Or was there something maybe eating at you that said, this is the path I need to go in?
Originally, it was the uniforms.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell the truth, it was the uniforms, because I mean, they're crisp. They're, the straight back, but once I started studying, because we had to study to take the test, they took us out on the weekend, we had to run. I was like, oh, okay, this might not be too bad.
Yeah.
And the gentleman, my recruiter, he actually handpicked the job that I would have, the school that I would go to. So I didn't have to navigate that whole thing. So
it seems as if you've had people strategically in your life
throughout my life, directed my path.
Yeah,
just throughout. I remember when I did my first sermon, and that was part of my sermon, that God would always place a person or a situation right there, and it was upon me to figure it out.
Sure.
It wasn't like he said, okay, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do it. No, he would sit it there, and I would have to figure it out.
Wow. So then, okay, you go through your career with the military, and you make this huge transition into the pageant world. So
pageants were always there.
Okay.
Pageants have been in my world since I was 14 years old.
Really?
I was I won't say was, because I still am, a huge tomboy.
Okay.
Oh my God. When I say Sunday after church, take off your dress and run outside and play street football with your brothers, that was me.
Okay.
Easter, what you mean I got to put on a dress with some fluffy stuff? What are you talking about? What I got to do that for? That was me. So my maternal grandmother, again, somebody in my life, my brother and his friends would always go up to Fairgrounds Park, and they had the little pee-wee football, Matthew Dickey, whatever it is. So my brother knew one of the coaches, and the coach's girlfriend, wife, I don't know, was the coach for the cheerleaders for that age group. So I started cheering for Matthew Dickey. And in that process, I met one of my still longtime mentors, who actually was the cheerleader coach for Beaumont High School. So when I graduated 8th grade, she had me to come up and try out for Beaumont's cheerleaders. Never happened, an 8th grader coming up to try out. What are you talking about? She doesn't even go to our school yet. And I made the team, and then I became captain of that team.
Okay.
She's the one that introduced me to pageants.
Wow. So let me ask you this. What are the similarities between the discipline of military life and the discipline of pageant life?
There are no differences at all. None.
Really?
You have to be disciplined in your eating. You have to be disciplined in your working out. You have to be disciplined in how you look at life situations. And you have to be able to switch it up on a dime.
Yeah, yeah. And what I found quite interesting in looking at your story, of course, there's a certain financial obligation that you have as far as, you know, pageants are concerned. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how you almost jeopardize your financial obligations to help somebody else. This is Beautiful with Lady Sil. We'll be right back.
Have you ever been pressed for time? Rushing to get to that very important meeting with the big guys, or trying to beat that grace period at work, and finding somewhere to park is nearly impossible? You finally find a parking spot in front of the parking meter, and you realize that you didn't bring any change. You happen to look over and see a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk, and for a half second, we immediately assume that the homeless person wants something from us. We snap back to reality as we check all our pockets for change because we don't want to get a parking ticket. Coincidentally, we look over and see the homeless man handing us the exact change we need for the parking meter. My new album, View from the Inside Out, was created to encourage listeners to not judge a book by its cover, because sometimes it's the person that we least expect that will be the one that gives us exactly what we need when we need it. View from the Inside Out drops March 19 everywhere. And remember, integrity matters the most when you're by yourself.
Hey, I bring to you DOC, Disciples of Christ Ministries. We are dedicated to the advancement of God's kingdom by bringing our people closer to Christ. We are proving ways to effectively commit Scripture to memory. If you want to memorize biblical text but are not sure what to memorize or how, the SOAP study is perfect for you. The SOAP method: Scripture, observation, application, prayer, is the perfect launching point to begin hiding God's Word in your heart. This user-friendly and godly-inspired gift will give you thought starters to encourage you and others on your spiritual journey, bringing you intrinsic, extrinsic, and most importantly, eternal value. For more information, you may contact us today at 314-449-1337. Receive a free Bible with your order today.
Thank you so much. So before the break, we were talking to Juanine, Mrs. Missouri, USA, and we were about to start talking about how in the pageant world there's a certain level of financial obligation that you have. But you decided to do something with monies that you could have used for yourself, because you have, you know, gowns and makeup and hair and all that. But you decided to use some of your monies for another purpose. And what purpose was that?
As a pageant queen or a pageant contestant, part of what the judges look for or what the pageant systems look for is, what are you doing for your community? And we're not talking about going out on the internet and say, oh, I want to pick that for my charity. You have to be physically involved with your charity. So in what I used to do for a living, I would see the outcome of the battered women or the the victims of assault and things like that. So there are, as you all know, there are houses all over the country for battered women or victim of violence. So I took part of the money that I needed for part of my financial obligation, and I bought tickets for women that were currently living in a battered women's shelter and their children, so they could come to finals night, so they could have a night out. Because most often when they go to those places, they're in hiding. And
so let me ask you this. Yeah. How much, just a rounded figure, would you say, because I really want to make sure we convey this, how much does it take for you to participate
on the state or local level or at the national level? There is a difference.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Let's say the national level.
On the national level, entry fee is in the upwards of $1,650.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you mean $1,600?
$1,650. That's just to say I want to be a contestant.
Mm-hmm.
After that,
and then you need money for wardrobe and hair and makeup.
And wardrobe can be anywhere from, give or take, for interview, for evening gown, for swimmer, because a swimsuit can cost about $600.
Oh my!
Oh yeah, and it's just two pieces, material.
Right. Mine would probably cost a little bit more than that, but.
So for basic competition wear, which is interview, evening gown, swimsuit, that could be anywhere from $2,500 up to $10,000 or $15,000, depending on the kind of gown that you choose. So
I guess the point I'm trying to make, when you are, raising money for yourself through sponsorships and, you are needing this money.
Every dime.
Just to, I don't want to say to survive the pageant life, but this,
no,
that's
that is. It's survival. It's survival. I mean, and that's a harsh way to put it, but it's an actual truth.
Sure.
To be in the people, when you say pageantry, we all get that connotation of Jean Bonnet or those.
The negative connotation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so far from that.
Sure.
It's, for me, it saved my life. It taught me how to carry myself in all areas, whether it's a job interview, whether it's meeting a dignitary, whether it's going out to dinner and just being out with your friends and not being loud and robust. You know how to carry yourself.
Sure.
It teaches you how to dress, because what looks good does not mean it's for you to look good in.
Oh my God.
And it just teaches all of that. And at an early age, the younger, the better, because it grooms you into those things.
But what I find so incredible about you is the fact that you need thousands of dollars to participate in these pageants. But instead of you keeping the money that you raise because of what you need, you decided to purchase tickets and have women and their children, and these are women who are in battered homes, battered shelters and that kind of thing. You purchase tickets
at $25 a pop.
At $25 a piece for them to come to the patch. I just think that's I just think that's incredible. It's
a form of tithing.
Wait. Say that again?
It's a form of tithing.
Now help me with that. What do you mean?
The Bible tells us to take the first fruits and bring it to the storehouse so we all can have plenty.
Sure.
But sometimes, and the Lord already knows what you're going to do before you even think about it, because he knew us before we knew us. So he already knew that's what I was going to do, because those people were on the other side of my obedience. He put that there.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that people that God uses are people that are in our lives for you to bless. That's a part of your obedience.
Yes. And by me being obedient, they're whatever you want to call it on the other end. It could be just that little thing that can open their minds, open their hearts to whatever it is for them.
So people are blessed by our obedience.
Yes.
I think, goodness. I think that is so that really speaks to the heart of who you are. And it really speaks to, because I'm going to be honest with you, when I was, looking at your phone interview notes, I said, this is not somebody who just wants to wear a crown and a sash. This is somebody who uses the opportunities in her life, from your, service with the military to now pageant life, to serve. And I just think that's awesome. I heard someone say once, servant serve.
Yes.
And you are a true servant. So.
I just told your assistant, I said, any other day when this is not on, I'm a pastry chef. We wear baseball caps at work. My hat is to the back. My sleeves are rolled up. I look a hot flaming mess on any given day. And my executive chef, because I told him I was coming, he was like, you're doing what? So I showed him my picture. He's like, that's not you. I said, all day, every day, on the weekends and holidays, that's me.
Right.
It's not about the crown. It's about what you do with the crown.
I think that's awesome. I think that's absolutely awesome. And you mentioned this. Okay. Detective, military, pageant life, and you're a certified pastry chef.
Again, God. Again, that's all I can tell you. It's God. I mean, I've always loved baking because my big mama, because of my allergies, and she used to always joke with me like, you just allergic to breathing. So, because I'm allergic to everything, basically. So while my brothers and sisters were outside picking the peaches off the peach trees and pruning the rose bushes, I couldn't do that. So she taught me how to bake.
Wow.
A pinch of this, a dash of that, stir it with this wooden spoon, girl, and don't mess up my stuff.
I hear you.
So that's where I learned my baking, my love for baking. But when Papa said I couldn't go to culinary school, I could only bake on occasion. But when I was an investigator for the Department of Corrections, that's where I would find my peace when I was working on a case. Because sometimes they did some things to get in there. But once they in there, they don't stop doing it. They just hone up their skills.
Let me ask you this. From, all of the transitions in your life, even from when you were a child till now, how do you think you were able to navigate through all those transitions?
God. I have one word, God. I didn't know it at the time because I had to grow into my faith. Because we all say, oh, something told me, dog, that's not something. That something has a name. And so I had to grow into knowing what that something was. I mean, my grandparents made sure we were at church every time the doors open. BTU, mission, whatever. We were there, but it was because of obligation. We had to be there. And it was not until I grew into what once was an obligation, I grew into my path. Then I could start fully understanding God. And so my husband, who's in the audience, he will tell you, whenever we get to a wall, I'll sit on the side of the bed and I'll start rocking. Okay, Lord. You got this. I know you got this. So I'm just going to sit right here until you open it up for me to see. And then I'm done with it.
Amazing. Please give her some love.
Please.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to make this an interactive discussion. And our audience has some questions for Juanine. And also, don't forget, we'll have the Lady Seal language segment when I will tell you the lessons we can all learn from Juanine's story. This is Beautiful with Lady Seal, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, the holidays are here and it's time for y'all to get cooking. Happy holidays, guys. It's Hot 97 Media.
That's right. This is yours truly, the one and only DJ Polo.
And your girl, Miss Lily, here to tell you about a delicious brand new holiday flavor, infusion butter.
Hey guys, check it out. Infusion Blends flavored butter is the ultimate seasoning. Try that amazing rosemary and Cajun Delight flavor to make your turkey, steak, chicken, and shrimp mouth-watering good.
Polo, you're only talking about the meats. You can't forget about the sweets. Infusion Blends butter also comes in perfectly peach and oh my blueberry for your pies, cakes, toast, and oh my goodness, it's so good. Trust me, I've tried it for myself.
But don't just take our word for it. Order some for the holidays for yourself or give the gift of Infusion Blends butter to your friends and family. Lily, tell them where to go.
You can order some now by logging in at www.infusionblends.com. That's www.infusionblends.com and receive $2 off orders over $34. And don't forget to check out the holiday assortment gift box set, which would be a perfect gift for the holidays.
That's right. This is the season. Let Infusion Blend Spice Butter be the reason you're cooking and pleasing.
Wow, I'm a lucky man. She is the light of my life, and as fine as a Georgia pine. Good God from Zion, she's truly been a blessing. So what am I afraid of? I mean, she's perfect in every way. I love her. Yeah, I need to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing. Yeah, it's time.
My man is fine. He even looks better in the morning. I love him so much. Although he's not perfect, I accept him for who he is, and I'll support him in every area. I'll be there for him till death do us part.
Excuse me? How do you know Chris?
You must be Deanna.
Thank you so much, and welcome back to Beautiful with Lady Seal. So this is our interactive portion of our show where our audience gets to ask our guests questions. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, and you?
And your name is?
Melinda.
Good. Melinda, you have a question for Juanine?
I do. You've already done so many things in your life, so where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Wherever God puts me. I don't plan anymore, because my plan and his plans, they just never seem to kind of pan out. So wherever God says I'm going to be in 5 years, that's where I'll be.
Hey, sounds good to me. Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
And you are? I'm good.
I'm Jennifer Harden.
Jennifer, you have a question for Juanine?
I do. How has God played a significant role in your life?
He is my life. I don't know any other way I would have navigated life without him.
Sounds good. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Jerry Kincaid. With all that you have done, what motivates you?
I like for people to tell me no, that I can't do something. When you tell me no, just go over there and sit down and see what happens. All right. That's my motivation daily.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who's watching today who may need to be motivated because they've constantly heard no or constantly been rejected? What would you say to them?
Someone else's no is not your story. Your story was written before you even were thought about. And every day we're living out each page in our book of life. So your book of life is written, you have to live that page. And if the Lord puts something in your spirit, like you need to go over there and climb that wall, go climb the wall. I don't care that you're 250 pounds. If he said climb the wall, because there's something for you at the top of that wall.
Sounds good to me. Oh my goodness. Wow. We'll definitely say amen to that. Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have Lady Seal's language. And this is where I will have an opportunity to weigh in on what we can all learn from Juanine's story. This is Beautiful with Lady Seal, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Roz McCarthy, CEO founder of Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Minorities for Medical Marijuana is a nonprofit advocacy, outreach, and education organization based in Orlando, Florida. Our focus is making sure that minorities have an opportunity in the new legalization of marijuana throughout the country. We're in South Carolina, we're in Missouri, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Texas, Arizona. Our organization was formed to make sure that individuals, people of color, people coming from communities of color have an opportunity to be able to participate in the legalization of cannabis in the United States.
From losing her mother at a young age, to being crowned Mrs. Missouri United States, to representing our country in the armed services, to taking her own passion as a pastry chef, Juanine's journey can teach us several things. Here's my Lady Seal's language. Number one, be open. When Juanine was young, she lost her mother, but her grandparents stepped up to the plate and raised her with strong morals, wonderful values, and a sense of purpose. This tells us to be open for opportunities to love again. Life can send us through a tailspin, and we may think that no one will be there to pick us up. But when your heart and spirit are open, that's when you will attract what's best for you and who is there for you. I am considering adoption because there are so many children who not only need a parent, but a heart to love them. Decide today to be open. 2, be flexible. Juanine used all of her God-given talents, gifts, and abilities to do great things. You must be able to experience what life has to offer. We live in the greatest country in the world where you can do and be anything you want. Be flexible enough to find what works for you and go after it. Some find their calling easier than others. Some know it as a child, and for some, such as myself, You may not fully understand it until your later years. Whenever it happens for you, be flexible and go after your destiny and purpose. You deserve it. Number 3, be sensitive. A good friend of mine wrote a song that I love. Some of the lyrics are, be sensitive to the seasons that you're in. You have to know when it's time for you to move, to change, to transition, or to become. When you stay in a situation or a season too long, it can be dangerous to your destiny, and it will not honor you. Know when it's time to move on. It'll save your life. I would like to give a huge, beautiful thank you to our guest for today, Mrs. Juanine Rucker. And I would also like to give a huge, beautiful hug to my studio audience. I could not do what I do without you. This is Beautiful with Lady Seal, and we will be right back.
If you'd like an invitation to be a part of our fabulous studio audience, or to hear more about our exclusive sponsorship opportunities, email us at dynastytvproductionteam@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to get up-to-date news about Beautiful with Lady Sil, as well as much, much more.